Good day, folks. I'm Robert Eidus, and I would like to thank all the people at Nectar's in Asheville for using their community room last night, and for Avram Friedman, who is videoing this right now in gorgeous silver, springtime in silver. So I'm here today to explain the state of the art in CBD medicine and the recent federal and state regulations which have changed the playing field. As many of you know, I've been traveling to California for the last 4 winters to immerse myself in the first state to legalize medical cannabis, California. And that was in 1996, folks. This year, I created a strain now called Tsunami Web, which is a low THC 0.072 and a high CBD 16. In addition, I have used this lab in Berkeley, California, which I have some information, so I'm familiar with them. They analyze the dry weight of buds and give you analysis on CBDs and THCs. I am now with my partners in California and Joshua Tree, growing out our first crop, small crop, to be turned into oil. And I'm doing this to learn this process, because one of the things we're going to talk about today is how many different ways hemp can be processed, and which ones are good and which ones are not so good. Okay, so on returning to Marshall this year, about 3 or 4 weeks ago, a number of people have asked me to explain the current situation, especially since 3 hemp oil products and hemp extract products are now being sold in Asheville. Because this is not an easy topic to discuss, as it has so many moving parts, I decided to give this lecture. And so I dedicate this to all the people who need to know what's going on right now. To prepare for this event today, I have spent the last week talking to the movers and shakers in the industry today, from people from the Department of Agriculture in Kentucky to expert authors on this subject, as well as practitioners in California collectives and industrial spokespersons at the American Herbal Products Association in Washington, D.C., and the American Botanical Council in Austin, Texas. And now, I do believe I understand the public's confusion. First, let me recommend a book. It's called Smoke Signals by Martin A. Lee, for a truly wonderful read about this miraculous plant. Cannabis sativa. Martin is the founder and director of Project CBD and a major player in this new field. He had, as I had learned on an aside, a law case. He was brought to court by one of the companies we're going to talk about today, and won that case. So I recommend his book, Smoke Signals, and has been recommended by the American Botanical Council in Austin, and won the James Duke Award 2 years ago, or 3 years ago. In addition, there's an eye-opening DVD called What If Cannabis Cured Cancer by Len Richardson, and this is available on YouTube. It's basically a catch me up to 1997 or 8, right after the California experiment with becoming the first medical marijuana state. And it is excellent for understanding CBDs. But there are other things also that are out there that we'll be recommending. But that's a good starting place for people who just don't understand this yet. So these two excellent sources of information, smoke signals and what if cannabis can cure cancer, lets you know some of the incredible research being accomplished over the last 30 years outside the United States of America. We are so pitiful in our understanding of this plant. So what has changed since 1996 when California became the first state to legalize medical cannabis? In the past, there have been now 23 states that followed 22 states that followed California's lead, 2 with recreational use, Washington and Colorado. Plus, about 2 years ago, the 11 Republican hemp oil states, of which North Carolina is one, passed legislation. And the game changer, in my opinion, was this Agricultural Act of 2014, aka the 2014 Farm Bill. This bill, signed into law, allowed states to grow industrial hemp at an institution of higher education or a state department of agriculture for research conducted under an agricultural pilot program. Besides giving states the right to study the growth, cultivation, or marketing of industrial hemp for the first time in recent memories, it is the first time, though, that they defined the term industrial hemp. Now, before that, okay, and what they said was industrial hemp meant the plant Cannabis sativa L and any part of the plant with a delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol concentration of not more than 0.3% on a dry weight basis, quote, end quote. In the past, the difference between cannabis plants was between high and low resins. So cannabis plants grown in the northern hemisphere had low resins, and plants from around the equator had the higher resins. Cannabis plants with low resins were called hemp, and they were used for fiber with very, very long stalks. On the other hand, cannabis plants with high resins were smaller, bushier plants, were for medicine. The trichomes or resins have the THC and the CBD located in the plant. Hemp has almost none or very, very small amounts of trichomes, thus very little THC or CBD by their definition of hemp. Now, for the first time, this definition had an arbitrary unit of 0.3 THC. And they are determining that anything, therefore a reading of 0.29 is hemp and 0.39 is not hemp. And that's kind of ridiculous. It's a statement you have to go and stop and go, really? Is that true? Is that really true? So we have a problem right away, okay? So this 0.3 is going to follow us, and then we're going to see some interesting things that have happened. Okay. Now here's the dilemma, and we're going to get right into it. On the international stage, there's a basic CBD conference every 2 years with participants from Spain, Israel, and Britain as the main countries that have been doing the research. It was Israel that first isolated THC, and it was Spain that first isolated CBD. And as you will see in What If Cannabis Can Cure Cancer, there's a secret company in England, and you see the inside of their greenhouses growing harlequin plants that are like 2,000 plants in there, and you go, whoa, these guys are really into this medicine now. Okay, getting back to it. So it is now recognized from this international group that you need, by weight, 1% THC to about 20% CBD to be the best medicine. And the 1% to 20%, and we have plants like ACDC from Spain and Charlotte's Web from Colorado. We don't know where that came from. And Harlequin Tsunami, which is basically a California Ringo, a very famous CBD advocate. And one of the plants that I bought out of my collective in California was a Billie Jean, which is one of the plants we crossed with what we thought was a Charlotte's Web. We're still in research about that. This would be, if you look at 1 THC to 20 CBD, about 300% increase in the hemp definition created in that 2004 Farm Bill. So then the question arises, how is hemp oil being sold as medicine, right? Because hemp is fiber, has very low CBDs, and that's what's now legal everywhere in the United States. How then is hemp oil being sold as medicine? Let's go to Kentucky, Department of Agriculture. The story starts with an investigation into one of the 3 products. 2 of the products, cannabis, which indicates that they are selling CBD oil, and CW Botanicals, that has a Charlotte's Web hemp oil and a Charlotte's Web hemp extract, including a Charlotte's Web gel pen, were to have come from California and Colorado, which is stated on their brochures. But the 3rd product, Palmetto Harmony, organic, is said to be on the label organic CBD hemp oil, and it came from our sister state in South Carolina. And I was lucky to last weekend run across a salesperson in North Carolina who's going to be speaking at the Organic Growers School, talking about this product, and he was the one who helped me understand greatly the product, and then he let me speak to the president of the company, and she was very helpful, and the literature was what she was basically recounting. But she did say that what I should do is go to the Kentucky Department of Agriculture and talk to them about the program. So I did. It led to a conversation in hours after her conversation with a guy named Adam Watson, very, very likable person, an employee with the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, and he explained to me the industrial hemp pilot program, which monitors through research personnel that is supplied both by the Department of Agriculture and by the grower. And that seeds coming in to the hemp process for oil and for fiber were going to be at that 0.03 level, coming from an international group, and that when they left, they would be at 0.3. So this left me, what I learned from a conversation with Martin Lee about that topic was that there is an international hemp seed organization where all hemp seeds originate. And the reason he said that it was formed and it has heritage seeds in it is that the seeds need to grow at approximately the same height so that the equipment can be used to maximize the plant. And this is very rigorously controlled. And he said that he didn't have any doubt that at 0.3, Kentucky could make it. However, and that was Kentucky studying farm production of fiber and oil, and maybe even marketing of those products. Now, as an aside right here, because we're talking about the oil, I want to tell you that hemp seed oil has no CBDs in them, unless they are contaminated, which is not usually the case because they usually wash the seeds. And this was confirmed by 3 reliable sources, including the Department of Agriculture. The medical side of the research may have had clones coming in from California. Since I don't know this before, when I was asking about the seeds, I didn't ask about the clones, and I'm still doing research on that. But it would make some sense because in the Palmetto Harmony information that I got from the president, she mentioned AC/DC. She also mentioned the grower that she was getting the product from. I know I'm familiar with AC/DC, and that is one of the strains that are on our website. So right now, Michael, or the APA, okay, let me start all over, you can cut that. The APA, I call the AHPA, the American Herbal Products Association, and they said to me that the product name hemp oil can be on the product shelf because of the new Farm Bill of 2014. And the fact that the American Congress has not acted to the science and he is saying that hemp could be coming out of Kentucky at 0.3 and in the process raised to what they're telling me in South Carolina they have as 0.96. So the 0.96 for the Palmetto Harmony is good. But I'm having a hard time in understanding how it went from 0.3 to 0.96. So the Kentucky law was then passed. So let's just talk for a second about Mr. McConnell, the senator from Kentucky, helped put the 2014 Farm Bill, and he knew about it, and he passed that information on to Kentucky, and Kentucky was the first state to actually produce the requirements that the Farm Bill has to have a research pilot project. So they passed a law, and in it, there's a commission, and they are having growers apply to get, they don't call it a license, they don't call it a fee, because to some degree they're really an adjunct of the department, but they don't get anything for it. They have to put all the money up themselves, and it says right in there, frequently asked questions, that the farmer could lose the crop. However, after the research is done, the grower can use the crop or sell it across state lines, which other states cannot do. And they have to enact the pilot research program authorized by the Farm Bill to be able to ship interstate. Thus raises the question with the other two products mentioned as to the legality of their being transported across state lines from Colorado and California. And we're still in research about that. It may be absolutely legal. One thing I did learn is that the lab analysis that was given to me out there, and the South Carolina company is using, the Berkeley lab, it is not consistent. That some people, including Project CBD, have handed 3 labs the same plant and have gotten back 3 different analysis. So again, in some ways, it's unregulated. California is trying to figure out how to regulate the labs, and it has a Wild West nature to the current situation. Now let's speak to North Carolina, one of the 11 Republican states that passed legislation quickly as it came out of a Washington Republican think tank a few years ago, and it came out because people didn't want their children to go to Colorado and follow where it was legal to get this known way to have their epileptic children treated. And this was amended in 2015. It was called at the time, and still is, the North Carolina Epilepsy Alternative Treatment Act. The purpose of the act is to permit the use of hemp, quote, is to permit the use of hemp extract as an alternative treatment to intractable epilepsy. When it originally passed in North Carolina, the law stated the THC number of the 2014 Farm Bill of having no more than 3% by weight. It's also the first time, to my knowledge, the mention of CBD level was created with at least 10% CBD by weight. It is also logical, since the Farm Bill determined the arbitrary number of 0.3, and the state followed along. The North Carolina legislation uses the term hemp extract and not hemp oil. And that may be a good thing. We still don't know. The research is still being done. However, in the amended bill that passed the 2015 session, hemp extract is meant to mean extract from the cannabis plant with the following characteristics. Instead of 0.3, it is now 0.9 THC. And instead of 10 CBD, it is now only 0.5 CBD by weight. But the only legal individuals in the state of North Carolina to use hemp extract is to treat intractable epilepsy, and a certificate of analysis that indicates the ingredients including percentages of THC and CBD, have to be along with the document of this medicine, which is not being done at all. In conclusion, number one, hemp seed oil has omega-3s and omega-6s, but no CBDs. So if it says CBD oil, it can't be hemp oil. Period. It's not, it seems like there's not a question about that. Many products labeled as hemp oil and tested by the FDA recently and Project CBD a while ago has faulty ingredients like no hemp and no CBDs. Getting an analysis, number three, getting an analysis is vital to knowing something about what you're taking. I may add to that, knowing the farmer who grew that and knowing the manufacturer is absolutely important also. Number four, some products are using the term hemp oil because it's legal. It was made legal by the Farm Bill. But that's what the industry spokespeople are saying. Number five, there is nobody watching the hen house and the fox is outside. Thus beware of product claims. Number six, to have effective medicine, you need cannabis oil at around 1 THC to approximately 20 CBD to work as the best medicine. People are different, and so are the plants. So exact dosages could be a little iffy. The word would be to go slowly as you use the medicine. However, some product advertising by giving dosage advice is, from what I have learned, is really prescribing medicine without a license. And doing so becomes a medical profession, and they're doing that because the medical profession and medical associations are not doing their work. Even if you want the medicine in North Carolina, you cannot legally obtain it without a neurologist script and needing to be a person with intractable epilepsy, as I read the law. Number 8, products including hemp oil and hemp tinctures entering North Carolina from states other than Kentucky right now are doing so through a loophole, as one salesperson pointed out. And how Kentucky is producing 0.3 THC or less, and it comes out of South Carolina at 0.96 is still a mystery to me. Number 10, and this is really important. If Bonner's soap didn't win in the 1960s against the DEA to allow hemp products into the United States, we would still be without this versatile plant. They paved the way, and they should be acknowledged. Number 11, the Omnibus 2014 spending bill eliminated the Omnibus 2015 spending bill eliminated DEA funds in all 23 medical marijuana states and the 11 hemp states. So there are no funds for enforcement, a loophole by some, and purposeful by those writing the legislation, in my opinion. Thank you for listening to this whole thing. I appreciate this. You can find more information at www.eidus.org. dot tsunami web seeds.com, all one word. And if you are seeing this and are one of the states that allow medical marijuana, we have created a card in our sales effort, and we're still working, but we do have seeds for sale, and that's on that site. While I was out in California, I ran into, let's say it'd be 2012, I ran into a plant called Harlequin Tsunami. Harlequin has been known to come from England, and Tsunami from out in Los Angeles. Sour Tsunami is its name. It has, both of these plants, high CBD. So what is a CBD? There's approximately 66 known compounds in the cannabis plant. And we're basically talking about cannabis sativa. This CBD stands for cannabidiol. And that's what CBD stands for. I will be using CBD the whole time as an acronym. Thank you. You want to then just run on here. Okay. There was a gentleman called Simpson, and there's his oil, Simpson oil. If you haven't seen a documentary called Run from the Cure, it should answer any questions about producing your own oil. He also has a site called Phoenix. I don't know if it's rising or not, but it's called Phoenix something. He says, caution, oils that drug dealers sell can have many contaminants and oftentimes little or no THC. From my experience, most hemp oil available on the street should be avoided for medicinal use. Make your own oil, or have someone you trust produce the oil, and to assure pure, high-quality oil is produced. He goes into dosages, which I don't want to go through. Now, one of the things he talks about is the process and what he uses as a solvent. And NAPHTHA is also called benzene. Ether is used, alcohol is used, and this benzene. They all have problems. As he says, all these solvents, including alcohol, are poisonous in nature. So I have been going to the process of CO2. He also used butane, which is easy to get, but again, toxic. CO2 seems to be the process of choice, especially if you're doing organic. And when it comes to strains, and you're talking about THC, he's indicate at this time, all I could do is tell the public to order strong indica or indica dominant sativa crosses that have 20% THC or more. Now there's the 20%, but it's not a CBD, it's 20% THC, which is top shelf THC.